Welcome to a brand new episode of CNB. I am in New York City for the annual New York International Auto Show. Lots to take you through. There's some big highlights on the program that we want to quickly run through, so let me not waste another minute and head inside the Javits Center. The annual New York International Auto Show is definitely getting bigger every year. This time we're seeing some key global debuts as well, and I'm going to now run you through our highlights from the show. The American brands are flexing muscle as always, and I will begin with Ford's luxury brand, Lincoln. The massive 6-seater Navigator is a concept SUV that will go into production later this year. Imposing looks and those awesome gull-wing doors. Wow! A new 640 bhp powerful variant of the ZL1 forms the flagship of the Camaro range from General Motors' Chevrolet brand. The car looking like $1 million in red. Also getting attention is the new Bolt EV, a Jazz-sized all-electric car. And then there's the car I'm most interested in, the second generation Cruze. The new Cruze gets to us hopefully by the middle of 2017. The new generation of the Cruze, well, it only gets to us sometime next year, but it's good to finally get to see the car in the flesh. Now, the whole appearance of the car is a lot more taut. It's looking tight and sporty, but it's not as muscular as the last car, and that's something that might go a little bit against it, because in India, people want that sense of space. Here you're getting a more compact sense from the car's design. The face, though, I have to say, very attractive, very contemporary, very modern, and well, we certainly need something to shake up in this segment. Maybe the Cruze could do just that. Cadillac is another brand that we keep waiting for. The new Q5 rival seen here. The XT5 would certainly be the right choice of vehicle for India, isn't it? Staying American with Fiat Chrysler's Jeep brand, which gets to us this year. But what I would like to see come to us, the muscle cars from Dodge. The Charger and Challenger looking stunning in the bright blues and oranges. The Challenger's supercharged 6.2-litre Hemi Hellcat V8 engine is also on display. It puts out 707 bhp and 881 Nm, by the way. Dodge also showing off its 8.4-litre 645 bhp Viper ACR. Now the other supercharged beast, the Jaguar SVR. Now, the SVR version of the F-Type debuted at the Geneva Motor Show just a few days ago, so it's making its North American debut here. I'm seeing it for the first time, and I can tell you that unlike most motor show displays or unveils, there was something a little bit different that we got to do with this car, and it wasn't in here. It was out on the open road last night.
All right, everyone, we're closing out a tunnel now.
Now, trust JLR to do something a little out of the ordinary. I mean, you've got the car showing up at the New York Auto Show, but that's not enough. We've had the presentation, that's not enough. And so here we are in Manhattan, and yes, it's at night. And behind me is the Park Avenue Tunnel. It's been blocked off for a special event. It's not just a road test, it's a sound test. Let's find out what that means. Jaguar decided it would be fun to listen to the new special exhaust system on the SVR. That also punches 20 more horses, by the way, than the F-Type R at 565 bhp. The sound-sensitive lights in the Park Avenue tunnel were set up to go from white to red as they reacted to the sound. Pretty incredible stuff.
Perfect. Right. Enjoy that?
Oh yeah.
SVR is all about ultimate performance. It's about, you know, taking weight out of the car. It's about adding power, so the power to weight ratio is improved. It's about improving the aerodynamics. It's about modifying the design so it's distinctive, and ultimately it's about increasing the performance of the car. That's the DNA we applied to the Range Rover Sport. It's exactly the same story on the F-Type SVR. So it's lighter, it's got the 575 PS engine, it's got better power to weight ratio clearly. It's about 25 kilograms lightest in its purest form. It has actually up to 50 kilograms lighter if you apply the carbon fiber options. It's got a lightweight, all new lightweight exhaust, so the aerodynamics are much better. And ultimately, this is a 200 mile an hour, we call it an all-weather, everyday supercar. 200 miles an hour, 0 to 60 from a standing start in 3.5 seconds. This is a serious car. The sound is very important, you know. We work, I mean, the core V8 engine has got a great soundtrack. The engineers work very, very hard to tune it. And you know, I just know for a fact that people drive that car and they're listening to the soundtrack, and it's great. We've worked very hard on this. It's got a new exhaust system, so it has a distinctive sound versus the core car, but it's one that we're quite proud of. I think you may have experienced it last night.
Back to the JLR stand at the show, and Jaguar also showing off the second car it's launching in the US market. Now in 2015, JLR says that Land Rover was the fastest growing brand here in the United States. This year, it has bigger hopes from Jaguar as well, and this car, the F-Pace, will play a very key role towards that strategy. In fact, JLR has gone so far as to say that it's not just here in North America, but overall for Jaguar, the F-Pace is going to end up as the highest selling Jaguar ever.
What we're going to do is with this car is see how it evolves and see how it takes place in the marketplace. The story so far is going to be very successful, and if it is, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't look at doing other cars of this type. There's nothing planned yet, but I certainly would endorse the idea of doing smaller ones or bigger ones at some point in the future if it works for us. But the important thing is not to lose the essence of what we stand for. We cannot become another SUV car company. We have to be a sports car company that happens to do an SUV. And I think as long as we keep that in perspective, it'll be the right balance for us.
Mazda has my favorite car at the show, the MX-5 RF. A sexy, retractable fastback version of its flagship MX-5 Roadster. Honda showed a Civic prototype at Geneva and is still calling it the Civic hatchback concept here in New York. Now I wish Honda would bring this to India. Hyundai is showing its Geneva debut, the new Prius fighter Ioniq. It's on show in its all-electric, regular hybrid and plug-in hybrid avatars. Nissan has a special display that pays tribute to all the GTR skylines over the years, so you get to see each of the older cars here on the stand. And they are the ones that have made the GTR name what it is. All of this as Nissan unveiled the new facelifted GTR. This of course is the GTR that will also debut in India very soon. Now this is the last big major update we're going to see on the GTR in its current generation. The car gets 20 bhp more extra power, which takes it to 565 horses. There is a little bit of a styling change up front, well, all around really, and with it, Nissan says it's created its best and fastest GTR ever. I looked for the Lexus RX 350 because it will likely be the first model we get in India when the brand launches. But I instead found this Jeremy Scott version of it from the New York Fashion Week. Yikes! So I've saved the Germans for the last, but that's because they've surprised us the most by bringing some world debuts to the party. Mercedes-AMG has 2 new models. The sexy C63 Cabriolet and the awesome new E43. Based on the new generation E-Class that's yet to go on sale. Now if that wasn't good enough for you, the New York show gets another world premiere, the GLC Coupe. The GLC gets to India this year, remember, and the coupe version will likely follow in 2017. It looks very good and almost more like a cross sedan than an SUV. BMW is showing off its recent unveil, the 600 bhp M760i xDrive. Finally bringing M-Power to the 7 Series flagship. And finally, it's the showstopper from Audi. The R8 Spider has the same height and wheelbase of its predecessor, but it's wider and shorter in length. The 5.2-litre V10 punches 540 horses, and the car uses a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. So I hope you liked what we brought you from the New York Auto Show. We come back here every year, and remember that you have to also get in on the program next week to catch all the highlights from the World Car Awards. That's something to look forward to. For now, let's slip into a very short break here on CNB. We see you on the other side of that break with another car review. Now, while I have been here at the Javits Center in New York City, Ameya has been busy driving the new generation of the Skoda Superb. Now, it's a car that we scooped for you on the program. You've had a chance to look at it, but now we get into the real detail in terms of what's on the India spec. Take it away.
It was almost like a reasonably well-to-do man's limousine. The Skoda Superb definitely carries quite a reputation in India, and now the new car does even more. We had scooped the 3rd generation Superb, and now that it's in India, we have more details for you.
So there are a few design elements from the Octavia that the new Superb gets. But what the Superb has different is that it's taller, it's wider than the previous generation. Actually, it's based on the same platform, the B8, as the Volkswagen Passat. But there is a difference now. The limo kind of styling that you saw at the rear is gone, and it's now replaced with a nice coupe-ish kind of look. But there is more to that. This one's taller and even wider than the previous generation. But does it have an effect on the handling then? Well, for the time being, when it comes to looks, it simply stays good to its name, and that is Superb.
If you check out the design of the tail lamps, you understand that they've been shaped that way to make the car a little more aerodynamic. Considering that the man responsible for the Bugatti Veyron is at the helm of affairs at Skoda's design department, one should expect this. What really works is that there's no overdose of chrome to force a premium look. Instead, the crystalline elements work their magic on the car and let it do all the talking. The new Superb is 6mm taller and 47mm wider than the previous generation. The wheelbase too has increased and it now stands at 2841mm. So there's more legroom on offer. Ideal then to be chauffeur driven. But would you ever want to drive it?
Well, the third generation of the Superb comes with a 1.8-litre petrol and a 2-litre diesel engine. What we are driving is the petrol, and this one generates 177 brake horsepower. With the 7-speed DSG gearbox, it's actually quite fun to drive. The flappy paddle gearbox is very responsive and addresses your commands very quickly. So the gear changes are better, it's fun to drive, and alright, when you turn in, that's when you actually hear some screeching, but well, it's actually quite a nice thing to drive. It feels compact, it doesn't feel like a big car, and that's what you want when you're behind the wheel.
The petrol also has a manual option, by the way. For those who want a diesel, Skoda offers the Superb with a 2.0-litre 174 brake horsepower churning engine. The car may be eager and willing, but it's also extremely comfortable. It soaks up all the undulations, it makes you feel at ease, the ideal combination then of luxury and lunacy. However, it is at such times that you get greedy and start wanting more, and the Superb doesn't disappoint. There is no dearth of luxury either. It comes loaded to the brim with features like bi-xenon headlamp, electronic stability control, a panoramic sunroof, now without a rotary knob, 12-way electric adjust driver seat, a 6.5-inch touchscreen infotainment unit with SmartLink, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, among others. The Lauren and Clement version comes with even more, and that includes a Canton sound system which comes with 12 speakers, including one in the center and a subwoofer, which blows your mind away because the sound surrounds you and all you can do is surrender. There's also ambient interior lighting, driver fatigue detection system, a 12-way electric adjust passenger seat and a 3-zone climate control system and umbrella holder. There's also a remote-controlled opening and closing system for the boot lid. Now, the previous gen had a twin body, but this is just a hatch, and Skoda seems to have taken notes from the Octavia to make it that way. On the safety front, 8 airbags come as part of standard equipment. The petrol variant of the Superb starts at 23,82,000 rupees and goes right up to 28,25,000. The diesel starts at around 27 lakh and goes up to just under 31 lakh rupees. All prices are ex-showroom Delhi. With the Superb, Skoda has managed to appeal to both those who want to be chauffeur-driven and those who want to get behind the wheel. However, there is a bit of gloom for those who want to book the diesel variant. The company is currently accepting bookings, but the deliveries of the car will only begin in April, and that means you'll have to wait your turn. But it sure looks like a car that's worth the wait.
And with that, it's pretty much a wrap here on this week's episode of CNB. I hope you've liked it. Now, I'm popping out at the top of a Wrangler here, and the reason for that, well, we're going to have to start to focus now more on the Jeep brand. And certainly here, as part of the truck and SUV exhibit, Jeep takes up a lot of space and it gets a lot of interest as well. Not just in this market anymore, in ours as well very soon. So we'll have more details for you on Jeep in the coming weeks. Look out for that. In the meanwhile, promise me you'll wear your seatbelts and you will wear your helmets if you're on a two-wheeler. See you next week.